All right. Love you. Bye. Alrighty, guys. Welcome to this live stream. Glad y'all here to make it for this live stream. Let's pull up the chat here so that way we can look at this. Okay. All right. So let's get started here. I want to go over. Don't pay attention to that yet. Okay. So let's go to the global United States view here, and let's go ahead and talk about. We are going to go over uh, some of the characteristics of this cold air that's coming. So I want to first start off with the pivotal weather. Okay, we're gonna go to pivotal weather and we're gonna look at this um, very cold air mass that is coming our way. All right, so let's start out with this, not the CFS model. Let's not go to that. So let's go to the GFS model loop here. Okay, and what you can see in this loop. Let me go ahead and do this. Oops, no, not that. Go back. Cool. Okay. Anyways, he won't let me do that. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Okay. So let's go to the overall pattern in place. Okay. This is I want to start out with the European model here. Let me switch. Okay. So I want to start out with the European 12Z model run. Okay. This European model run has been really consistent at showing a very cold air mass, and this is going to be a December to remember for much of the United States, at least for the central and eastern thirds of the United States. Not much for the the Rockies and stuff there, for the Rocky Mountains and stuff. But what I can tell you is, as we're in December 4th right now, we've got more coming, guys. This is a very Arctic air mass that's in place, and when we have this Arctic air, we're gonna have some sort of thaw, and we are having that thaw next week. But is it gonna be a strong a strong warm up? I do not think so, because we've got more cold air that's coming down from Canada as the stratospheric warming is already occurring. Another one is already occurring currently. So I want to take this out. There's today we have this system here across the central and eastern mid Atlantic here. And as I track this out, you can see there is some snow up there in Virginia, um, into Virginia, as well as West Virginia, the Mid Atlantic toward Virginia, Maryland, even Washington D.C. could see some snow here as well today and tomorrow. But then we got this little clipper here. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. So you got this little clipper right here. Right here, this little clipper here is going to be a 1 to 2 inch, a 1 to 2 inch a 1 to 2 inch clipper there that's going to be coming in. And as I drag this along, you can see that clipper does fade out a little bit. But look what's happening out in the west, guys. The western United States is starting to heat. It's not starting to heat up, but it's starting to get cold again. And this is a thing this is a time period we're going to have to watch across the Rockies, because it's going to dump feet of snow top of the Rockies, even into the Sierras, not Sierras, the Cascades. The Sierras is too far to your north and east with northwest flow going across much of the United States. I mean, not much of the United States, across the Rockies and into the Ohio Valley. But what I can tell y'all is that this this little clipper here across on Sunday, according to the European model, it's really telling us, hey, this atmosphere is really capable of producing really heavy snowstorms, strong winter storms, But do we know that how much snow is going to fall with these clippers and the major snowstorms? No. But what we can see is that there is a pattern that supports it. This cold air that's in place supports it. And when we have these type of cold air masses and these Arctic outbreaks, we have these little bitty clippers that come through, like the Saskatchewan Screamer, you've got the Alberta Clipper, you've got all these, these names and stuff, what do you want to call it? But what we see are these clippers, and then they could ride along the coast. These clippers can come through, they can ride along the coast, and then we could have another nor'easter across the northeast sometime. So these are what these clippers can do. They can do coastal storms as well. You see, as we go out to about, this is out of 10 days out, but you can see, the pattern just supports it. The European really at over 300 hours out shows a big Arctic plunge coming down into the central and southern United States. So is this going to happen? Possible, but we'll have to look at data that supports it. And this is a month that's going to support this storm, this Arctic outbreak. So let's go over to beta. We're going to go to switch to beta here, and we are going to take a look at the temperature anomalies here. So as we zoom in here, okay, here's the temperature anomalies, okay? The temperature anomalies here across much of the country, okay? You've got today's storm system right there, okay? But look, as we head toward this area here, this is Sunday the 7th, the Sunday the 7th. You've got pretty good air mass here across the north central Midwest here. But the thing we're going to have to keep an eye on is all these areas here, all these, dramatic temperature changes. So you got 20 to 30 degrees below normal across, the Illinois, Iowa areas. But what we can see here is that you've got a brief warm up here, 14 degrees above average in North Dakota. But, what, does this support a big warm up there in the eastern half, the western half? But you can see how the western half starts to get warm now. But look at the eastern half of the United States. So let's go here. The eastern half here is still cold. The northeast is still cold. You've got the west starting to warm up here, okay? The west is starting to warm up a little bit. So we're going to keep an eye on that. And then that warm up does try to come up into the Midwest and the north central United States. But I don't think this is why this is not going to last long. Look up here. This is where I want y'all to look up, is up here in Canada, okay? Look up there in Canada. You've got pretty good strong air mass. There's one big cold front that comes through here, 20 to 25 degrees below normal. This is on This is on December 11th, okay? And you've got that brief warm up, and look what's coming behind this, guys. You've got a pretty stout cold front here. You've got another Arctic cold front coming in, and watch it. Watch what the European 12Z model run does. Look how it dips into the north central and midwestern and eastern half of the United States. So this area here, we're gonna have to keep an eye on for more snowstorms. And guys, I mean, when I say we're gonna have to watch a few areas for another big time snowstorm, it's gonna be this. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. This is going to be the area we're going to have to keep an eye on for more snowstorms. I'm going to highlight this in green, okay? This is the area we're going to keep an eye on for more snowstorms across this area right there, okay? This green area is going to be an area we're going to have to keep an eye on for more snowstorms across the next few weeks. What is it going to look like in December? I really, in late December and early January, I think it's going to stay cold. It looks really cold. And do we get a southern snowstorm in the last week of December? I mean, I can't rule it out with the Arctic air mass that's coming, but as we go back, you can see, look at that cold air just stays. The 16th, there's the 17th. The European tries to warm us back up, and then look at that, another cold front comes in near Christmas. This is the 18th of December. And another big cold front comes through. And this one, I don't know what's going to happen after this. But if I let's go to the Canadian model. Let's go to the, what is, no. What does the GFS show? All right, let's go back. What does the GFS show? What does the 12Z GFS show out as we go out to the 9th? Shows a pretty good warm up here across the central United States, right? But there's a little bitty cold front that comes through on the 11th of December. And then look, the GFS does not agree with the Euro. It does not agree with the Euro. It shows, oh, wait, we're going to stay cold. The Euro shows a little bit of a warm up on the 12th of December here across, this area right here shows a little bit of warm up, but not much. But what's the GFS GFS doesn't agree. All it shows is that another cold air mass here, and we stay below average for, most of that area. But, you're gonna have to keep an eye on this, guys. Do I trust the GFS right now? No. But does it have a different opinion than what the Euro and the ensembles show? Yes. And I'll show what the ensembles show. Uh, you you have to you have to watch what the models are showing. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on this. So guys, look, so you've got pretty cold air here across the eastern half of the United States. This is 6 a.m. the 13th. Okay, you've got pretty cold air here across the area here. Okay, and that cold air is going to come down to the southern United States. Maybe some 30s and 40s here across the southern all the way down to Panhandle, Florida. There's another warm up. The GFS. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on this, okay? This is the area here, and we're gonna have to keep an eye on this area for a brief warm up, but not really a warm up. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on that, okay? Now, the GFS shows a little bit of has a big plunge of cold air here, but it fizzles out into the Midwest, and then it shows another big Arctic cold break, not Arctic cold break, an Arctic cold front that comes through. And this one could be the one that does it. This is the 19th of December. And yes, I'm looking out, 384 hours out. But I'm looking at trends. I am looking at the pattern that supports this. I'm not going over one model run and saying it's verbatim, okay? Because you look at the 6Z model run from earlier, it looks familiar to what the GFS has been showing for a few days. Here's the 0Z from last night. It's a lot different. It shows a lot different in the placement of this cold front. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on this. You can see the 0Z from last night shows a big warm up in the eastern third of the country on the 17th of December. So this is why we're going to have to keep an eye on the model trends. This is why we don't trust models right now, because the models don't agree on what's going to happen and, where the placement of the cold front, where's the placement of the snowstorms, or the winter storms. So that's why it's hard for us to know where these storms are going, because the models just don't agree. Okay. So yes, we have the pattern that's in place, but we're going to need the moisture and we're going to need a storm system to ride along with this and create a big snowstorm. So what I would say, guys, is by looking at this pattern definitely supports a big snowstorm across the central and eastern United States. Where is to be determined. But again, please keep an eye on that this area right here is going to be the area we're going to have to be watching out for that threat of seeing more snowstorms and maybe even some more big time snow totals as well. And I don't think the lake effect snow machine is done yet either. I don't think this lake effect snow event is going to be done for the season yet because the lake waters are still warm, and we'll go over that in just a minute. Okay, so let's go over to Weather Bell here, and we'll take a look at the feels like temperatures here. So you can see cold front here across the eastern third of the country, across this area here. And if you like this kind of content, guys, like and subscribe, and share this live stream out, guys. And I am teamed up with somebody that I want y'all to follow as well on here. So on YouTube that I am joining with his live stream. So I'll get in touch with that here and at the end of the video, at the live stream. So you've got a big cold air mass here. This is the 6th of December. You can see cold air coming into the central and northern tier of the country, mainly mainly around this area right here. Mainly, this is the focus for the very cold air mass that's coming. Okay, now what happens with this? You can see there's that cold air mass that comes in, okay? But we modify some. But look as we head toward the middle of December. The European model says we are not going to warm up at all. We may have a brief warm up, but it's not going to be a big one. The Europe says no, it's not going to be a big warm up. What about the GFS in this area? Okay, let's look at the GFS model in this area. What does it show? It agrees. It really agrees on December 10th. It says, yes, I agree with that. Okay. What about the Canadian model? What does it do? Let's see what it does. Let's see. It agrees as well. Okay. So the three main computer global models all agree on the placement and the cold air mass that's going to be coming in place. And look what the Canadian model does. I mean, guys, it's insane to have how much cold air we're going to have in place with this. And if we get a storm system to tap into this environment and into this cold air, there could be a really, really big snowstorm across not most of the country, but most in this general area right here. In this, no, not that far south. Hold up. In this general area right here. No, 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 no. Okay, so in this general area right here, we're gonna have to keep an eye on for this potential of snowstorms to come, of big time snowstorms to come into the United States. Now, is it going to be that large of an area? I don't know that for sure, but that is my area I'm keeping an eye on for this potential for more snowstorms. So it's still a thing we're going to have to keep an eye on. It's still models we're going to have to keep an eye on. But if we're still a few weeks away, like we're still 1 week, 2 weeks away from this even happening, we're going to have to keep an eye on trends. And that's what we're looking at right now. We're looking at trends. We're not looking at where it's going to happen and when it's going to happen yet because we don't know that for sure. But what I can tell y'all is that this is a very active pattern we're heading into. And December to remember, guys. This is a December to remember for real. Um, you've got, analogs that go back in the 1980s. You got analogs in the 2010s, 2011, 2012 as well. So you're going to have to keep an eye on this. Do I know this for sure? Not really. But what I can tell y'all is that this storm, this 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 environment is going to be really capable of producing really big snowstorms. Um, so yeah, if y'all got any questions, type in the chat where y'all are watching from, and I can answer some questions if y'all got any questions. If you got any questions, just type in the chat where if you got any questions, weather questions. Any questions I can answer, I can answer them for y'all. Okay. We'll be on here for a few more minutes talking about this environment that's going to be coming in place. Okay. Okay, so I guess we got no chats in the chat. I mean, no chats in the chat room. So, all right, guys. Well, thank y'all for tuning into this live update. And I will be live later tonight with Weather Kingdom. And we'll be going over our analysts, our analysis of this big Arctic outbreak that's coming our way as we have a second stratospheric warming event occurring. And we'll keep an eye on that. And y'all tune in and come to Weather Kingdom. I'll put that in the chat real quick. His, I'll put in his, um, I'll share his stream into the chat so y'all can follow him whenever I can. So y'all have a great day, and thank y'all for watching. And I'll be live later tonight with Weather Kingdom. Y'all stay tuned. And we have multiple things planned for this live stream. So y'all have a great day and be safe, and God bless y'all. Be safe.